Welcome to the Angelscapes podcast, where you're encouraged to uncover and develop a direct connection with your soul's power, wisdom, and spiritual intuition that is ready to blossom. We'll explore new ideas, compelling tips, and real steps to help you learn simple spiritual practices. We're a safe place to learn more about accessing your soul's power with education and spiritual wholeness that could bring more clarity to your life. Now here's your host, a practicing medium, Akashic Records practitioner, spirit artist, coach, and mentor, Dr. Reverend Nancy Smith.
Have you missed any goals lately? What was your intention around your goals, and how did you feed your goals and nurture yourself? And I have to ask you, are your goals aligned with your soul's purpose? And do you know how to figure that out? Hello, this is Angelscapes, and I'm your host, Nancy Smith. Join me for a talk in this episode about setting your goals and building your intentions around your goals with the power of spirit, and learning how to know if your goals are aligned with your soul's purpose. So what is your goal? Do you know what your goal is? Do you know what you really, really want to do? And do you really want what you want to do? Your goal is the cornerstone upon which you are going to build yourself for the present moment and the moments and the times coming forward. And it's time to ask yourself, what are you building in your life, and what projects are you embracing that support your goal? For instance, I made a goal many years ago about learning mediumship. And I made a goal to unfold an innate capability that I was not really that aware of, or not really that knowledgeable about. I didn't even know if I could do it. But on the other hand, I wanted to do it to the best of my ability. And that's the best I could do. I actually, since I wasn't sure if I could do it, I just said, I'm going to do the best I can. But in order to unfold that goal, or in order to unfold any goal, you have to have a burning desire for it. You have to really, really want to achieve that goal. And then you got to want what you want. So setting something that is outside of yourself, at the same time wanting to develop an innate ability, or achieve something you've never achieved before, you got to be on your own side. And not only do you need to be on your own side, what really makes it work is having spirit on your side, or be in alignment with your soul, or have your soul and your guardian angel being your wingman, being the ones that are helping you out. Joel Goldsmith wrote in his book, Thunder of Silence, 4 keys to creating or making your goals. He said you must have a sincere intent. You need to have consistency in your own behavior, be persistent with what it is that you want to achieve, and be patient with how many steps and what it's going to take to get to where you want to get to. And again, I want to also add a connection to your soul, and a partnership with spirit is or source, spirit or source, is the key to reaching your dreams. You're not doing it alone. You can do it alone, but to have the goals be meaningful, deep, and really help you to bloom, having your higher side working with you, having source working with you, it can change everything. So we guide the boat in our lives. We choose where we're going to go. We hold the rudder, and spirit carries us. Spirit's like the water that carries us. And if the rudder takes you over the falls, it's on you. That's on you. It's a thing that were you paying attention? Are you aware of where you're going? And sometimes the awareness of where we're going isn't, I have a big awareness of next week or next month or what's going on. I have the awareness of I am in the present moment. I'm going to do this. I'm going to ask my higher self to move with me, but I need to pay attention to it every moment. And in the moment, be flexible of where I'm going to turn, or where I'm going to go, or how I'm going to listen to my intuition. And that's another key towards success in making the goals really happen in your life. Are you ready to do what it takes to meet the dreams that you want to meet. Again, going back to mediumship, and I talk to this a lot to my mediumship students, is setting the intentions around their goal. They come to class wanting to know how to do mediumship, and yet they are nervous. They haven't done it before. They don't know what it's about. They don't know if they can do it, and they're second guessing themselves a lot. And the concept of setting an intention is about setting the energy in alignment with spirit, alignment with source, to move towards your goal. It's the underpinning of making that goal of learning mediumship and unfolding this innate ability that has been hidden to you for probably most of your life. Your inner desires are usually not wrong. Something that you really want to do, something that you want to learn, something that you want to focus on, is oftentimes a reflection of your soul's desire. Usually you're in alignment with your soul, especially if you have a sense of well-being about it. Have a sense of, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to experience. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, and but I know I'm not going to do it alone. It's sometimes spirit is inspiring us to have these dreams. It's time to pay attention to what you are truly telling yourself. If you have to stop yourself mid-thought and kind of regroup and say, am I really on board for what I'm choosing to do? Am I really present for what I'm choosing to do? Then you need to step back a couple steps and say, where do I stand right now? Which way are my feet pointing? Negative thinking can take you out of making your dreams come true. As a matter of fact, your biggest block to reaching your dreams and your goals, whether they're spiritual, whether they're career oriented, relationship oriented, you trip yourself up probably more than anything, situation, or person could possibly do. So again, that goes back to how you're thinking. Is it a nurturing, loving thinking that's encouraging yourself, or is it a thinking of pessimism and negativity? I often find that I need to stop in the middle of what I am doing, especially when I'm planning to do something that's new, and pay attention to the attitude that I'm taking, the inner attitude. And sometimes I have to just snap myself out of it and say, okay, if you're thinking like this, how far do you think you're going to make it? But if you're thinking like this other way, you're going to fly. Do you see what I'm saying? So what is that inner attitude, and what is that inner intention? Replacing negative illusions with positive truths is very important in any endeavor that you take. And also asking God to hold it, put it in the hands of source, put it in the hands of spirit, will definitely improve your odds of reaching your goals. But it also improves your odds of having those goals go deeper and be fulfilling and satisfying. As we put them into God's hands, we may often get change, so you need to be flexible, because spirit may guide you in another direction, or go a little bit more to the left, or a little bit more to the right, or not quite that, but this other thing over here. And as we listen to our intuition, as it's connected to our soul and source, our pathway may not be as straight as we thought it was going to be, but our pathway will deliver us the deep depth of the joy that we're also looking for. As it's about the journey, guys, oftentimes more than it is about getting to the goal that we have in mind. As a matter of fact, sometimes goals are simply pieces of inspiration that help us move along a pathway that is in our highest and best, that is part of our soul's pathway. I have this quote from Martin Luther King. It says, "I have held many things in my hands, and I have lost them all. But whatever I placed in God's hands, I still possess." I love that quote. I think it's a perfect quote for setting an intention and looking forward to wanting to be able to create or experience or learn something. Put it in God's hands. Because in that case, your goals and your intentions will be more closely aligned to your soul's purpose. Are you putting the cart before the horse? Are you deciding what needs to happen before you've even decided what your relationship is to, if I achieve this goal, if I become a medium, what will that mean for me in my life? Where will this take me? How will this be in my best interest? And I after many years of practice, I went and took some classes, tried them out, and then I stepped back and said, those exact same questions. Is this what I want to do? Is this serving me? Is this taking me to a place in my life that goes deeper and brings me satisfaction and joy? And it took a while to build that. Who am I as a medium? What are my innate gifts and talents that are unfolding? And what did I want to do with those gifts? So I each time we decide to do something that is profoundly different in our lives or will open a gift that we've never looked at, we need to be patient and we need to be consistent. And the consistency for me in the beginning was continuing to do the practice, but continuing to observe myself and how I felt. And when I aligned myself with being a medium. And also, once I go growing spiritually, I do see, I do feel I had fallen and seen other students fall into a practice of be highly competitive. I have to be better than this other one, or I have to be able to do this, or I have to prove that. And so the lists became long and the stress became high, but the inner essence of what they were doing became less and less. And the outer outcome of what they were doing became more and more. And speaking about just doing something spiritual like mediumship or like being a servant of intuition to bring messages to others, it has to be an inner source. It has to be an inner blossoming and an inner growth. It doesn't last long if it's an outer competition. So let's go back to what you desire to do, what your goals are, and take a look at what is holding you back. Holding you back could be a series of thought forms and belief systems that keep interrupting you and disrupting you from stepping into the actions that you need to take. And also, you can, you know, life is busy, things happen, and they can disrupt us from an outer place. And blaming your discomfort and your inability to move forward on outside events can be a way to avoid facing the real cause of what is holding you back, your own attitude. Now, I want to go back to that positive thinking versus the negative thinking. Are you inspired or are you doubtful? So doubt can put Mack trucks in our way, and that's okay to have doubt, but when we feed our doubt instead of feeding our inspiration, then we'll bring doubt along the way. But if we feed our inspiration, it will overcome the doubt. It will break the doubt in half. You can see yourself as a victim of what's happening around you, or you could accept what is happening and take responsibility for your own responses to it. It's kind of a simple concept, but a very difficult concept to wrap your head around it when you're in the middle of the weeds of your whole life, of your life and the things that you want to do. Um, Maybe you're not paying attention to what your spirit truly needs or the truth of who you really are. Again, using my mediumship growth as an example, I had to pay attention to who I really was as I was unfolding as a medium, not who somebody else thought I was, or what the rules are for what you had to do to become a good medium. I had to pay attention to the truth of who I really was as a spiritual being, where that was coming up from, and I had to pay attention to the challenges that got in the way of my mediumship and embrace them honestly and say, yeah, you have a point there. With when I had my doubts, and I had to work through them. I had to honestly work through them. Whether you're becoming an artist or whether you want to learn to play the piano or whether you just want to, like, I'm going to try to have a new relationship in my life, each one of these goals will have challenges within yourself, and you can skip paying attention to the challenges and blame all the interruptions around you from letting you get to where you want to. Or you can say, you know what, I have to face this challenge that's in front of my goal because it is part of the pathway to my dreams and what I want to do. So you're listening to the truth of yourself but you're not letting your doubts and insecurities keep you from what you're doing. Do you see the difference? You're paying attention to your doubts and insecurities. You're feeding the dream, and you're healing or you're making whole the doubts and insecurities. Or you can take the doubts and insecurities, take them personal, and put them in front of you as if they're the leading force in your life, and then you lose. You don't go any forward. You have no forward movement, I should say. So paying attention to what your spirit truly means talks about what is it that you decided to do, and is it answering a call in your soul, or is it answering an outside um, force or an outside object or an outside expectation? Is it speaking to you internally? And sometimes we set huge goals for ourselves, but they don't speak to us, to our hearts. They sound really good, like going to medical school. You could go to medical school and you have the idea of what you want to do with your life, but then you step into the actual medical school, the residency, and you find out this isn't speaking to me anymore. So, and you're just slogging through, and you're putting in a lot of hours, and it's heart wrenching. And you have to me, when you get to that point, you just stop, take a break, and say, where am I? What am I really here to do? What is my true dream? And am I following it, or did I get off the track somewhere? And this is a long talk with yourself, your spirit, and your soul, and say, what was I inspired to do? Am I to be a healer in this life, or is something else talking to me? And now you're not throwing anything away. You're shifting, you're being flexible to say, what does my spirit and soul really talk to me, tell me, and communicate to me right now? How do I nurture myself through this? Maybe you're burnt out, and maybe you need to nurture yourself in a new way so that you continue on, or truly maybe you're burned out because you're going in the wrong direction. And these are some of the things when we're doing um, lifetime goals that we need to pay attention to, so we don't end up in the wrong place at the wrong time and very unhappy. You need to be authentic with yourself, and being authentic with yourself means listening to your soul, listening to your spirit, and paying attention to what all the signs and signals that you're getting physically, mentally, and emotionally from your own self, and from your higher self as well. Look for guidance within yourself. As part of your intuition is connected to source, connected to your soul, and pay attention to your intuition and to your guidance. You maybe your inner self is asking you to sit still for a minute and just pay attention to how you're feeling and where you're going. Or maybe your inner self is saying, I need to sit this one out, or not this one, that one. This one looks really good, and everyone's saying go in this direction, but there's something else, and I feel it's over here, and I'm going to try it out. So taking that risk, maybe the thing that your soul and your spirit are calling you to do. When you listen to higher guidance, you will not be pulled into victim thinking. You are the one that pulls yourself into victim thinking. Instead, listening to your higher self will inspire you, and be that inspired person that breaks through your obstacles and considerations. Because remember, as you have sincere intent and you're aligned to where your intention is, you're aligned to, and you remember what you started out to do, or where the feeling of what it is where you wanted to go, and then you're consistent to that behavior. You keep your shoes pointed in that directions, your feet pointed in that directions, and be persistent. Keep at it. Keep at it. And if this thing 1, 2, 3 effort didn't work, I'll try it again. 1, 2, 3. And if the effort didn't work again, well, maybe I need to add a 1A, 1B, 1C of what is it that you need to do to nurture yourself, to be persistent and patience. Patience is of course everything. And how do we learn to be patient? By being patient. So I have another quote here. God asks no man whether he will accept life. That is not the choice. You must take life. The only choice is how you're going to embrace your life. That's by Harry Ward Beecher. Beautiful quote about how are you going to embrace your life. You're not going to yes or no, I'm going to take life. You're like, okay, here it is. It's standing right in front of me. How am I going to paint this painting? How am I going to dance this dance? How am I going to approach this? And I tell you, approaching it from a place of intuition and speaking with your higher essence, which puts you in a place of embracing life through inspiration, is, I think, the best way to go. So I teach my students how to set up sessions with spirit and the power of setting intention. And and I ask them, what if you could express messages and guidance from spirit and have them be heard? What if you could communicate something that nobody else can hear. And they, yes, that'd be great. I want to do that. That's why I'm here. And how do you do it? And they go, that's why I'm here. I want to learn how to do it. Well, the miracle, the key is about setting a clear intention for your work. And this is the miracle and the key for pretty much anything that you want to do in your life, is setting a clear intention. So setting up an intention for a reading and a connection to spirits, for me, starts by opening sacred space to source and the angels and the guides. It's the first thing that I do. I have this goal. I'm in a classroom, or the students are in the classroom. They have this goal to become mediums, or to learn mediumship. So the first thing we do is open up sacred space to source, angels and gods and loved ones, because that's who they're going to be talking to, but also because when we set up sacred space to give ourselves time to blend with our souls and our higher self, we are now fueling ourselves, filling up the gas tank of our lives with source energy. And that car, ourselves, we're going to run much better on source energy than we are on anxiety energy, or I don't doubt energy, or I don't know if I can do this energy. We fill up with source and say, okay, we're pointing our shoes in that direction. And then the next part of setting the intention is to offer yourself the presence of yourself. You're available. Your gift is being there. Your gift is being exactly who you are, where you are in the moment, and that's it. Whether you're in school, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're learning mediumship, whether you're trying to take a math test, being present with who you are, where you are, and exactly where your gifts are is the best thing you could do for yourself and anyone in spirit who's helping you. And it's a gift, because you're in the present moment. You're not off in the future. You're not back in the past, being angry about the past, thinking about the past. You're right here and now. And as a matter of fact, that's when healing can be done, and that's when communication and spirit can be done, is in the present moment. The next step for setting up sacred space is request a connection to the highest and best of all. So here we are. We've opened up sacred space. We're offering ourselves as being available. We're saying, hey, I'm available to do this. And then we're going to request that connection. And we're going to request that connection for the highest and best of all, because we haven't quite asked anything yet. So the intention is, okay, so we're in the right spot. I'm here. And now let's get on with learning this mediumship, or learning this math problem, or learning this medical school, so that I can do it in my best way for the highest and best. And then you set a specific intention for your work. And that could be so many things. Some intentions that you could set is, allow me to be a vessel for healing through colors and image making, or I am open now for automatic image creation or automatic writing to listen to what spirit has to say. I welcoming my spirit guide in so that I can connect and I can work with them. I'm inviting in my best mind and my calmest mind so I can learn what I need to learn in this class. My best intention is to be the best person possible in this relationship, to be responsive and caring and loving. You see what I'm catching, how that pattern of setting your intention. I often say in mediumship, my intention is to create a clear connection with the loved ones in spirit, and allow the descriptions and messages to be understood easily and be received with grace. May healing for all take place as I do this session. And so that's a very specific intention. So you've gone from the global, the big brushstroke, to the specific. My intention for studying this class is to learn as best I can, or I'm studying to take a test, and may I know enough and absorb enough information and really learn the information, so that when I come to the test, I know what it is that I need to say and do. It's another kind of intention. So now that your intention is set, trust your intuition. This is another big step. This is really important. And work with what comes your way. So you've set the intention, you've opened up sacred space, you've made yourself available, you requested connection, and you set the specific intention. Now trust what comes your way is going to be in alignment of the first part of the intention that you just set. So if you feel as a mediumship, you feel a certain information coming your way, don't doubt it, trust it, say it, communicate it, and open and receive guidance with your senses. I have to say that oftentimes I'll get this far with my students, and they'll set the intention. They're very specific about their work and what they're going to do, and then they open their mouths, and the first things that come out is say, I'm not really good at this, so I'm going to try it, but I'm not sure if I can do it. But I'm not sure if it's my intuition or if it's what I'm thinking about or if I'm right or wrong. And all of a sudden, that becomes the intention. I'm not good enough. I'm not sure I can do this. And what needs to happen when that comes out of your mouth, I'm not sure I can pass this test. I've never been good at math. I've failed at so many relationships. I'm not sure I can be in this relationship. So we've just negated the work that we've done. And that's self-doubt or self-sabotage or whatever it is. And you need to stop for a moment and say, okay, I get that I have this fear. I get that I have this doubt. So for now, I'm going to take this doubt. I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to go back to my intention, and I'm going to trust that what's coming up from me, from my insides, from my mind, from my intuition, from my heart, from my gut, is in alignment with the intention that I just made. And as it comes forward, I observe. Don't talk about how you can't do it. Just observe what comes out. And if it's there, it's great. If it's not quite there, then you go in and say, where did we miss the track? Go back to your intuition and say, I know we made this intention. Something's not quite right. And go to your guides, go to your inner higher self and say, oh, where am I, where do I need to build this? Or what more information do I need to get? And then go for it, try it. It's a muscle that needs to be exercised and grown, meaning that muscle of trusting your intuition. Once you've set your intuition, no matter what the intention is, you want to work with your intuition and your connection to your higher power in order for the relationship or the test or the mediumship or whatever it is you're working on is to move forward. And then when you're done, you stop and relax, take a breath, and close your session. I thank all those in the spirit side for their help, and I give you back to yourself, and I bring myself back to me, and this session is now closed. Or I thank all of those spirits for their help. The test is over, and I'm finished studying for my test, and I'm putting the books down. I'm going to get a good night's sleep, and then you set the intention for the test taking to be the best test possible. When the test is over, I am done with this test. I'm setting it down, and I'm going to go out and have a nice lunch or whatever. I'm done with it. I'm putting it aside. So we give ourselves permission to be totally in something, knowing that when we're done, we're going to be totally out of it. So in that sense, that's a very powerful way to nurture yourself. No, we're not going to be in this anxiety for the whole time. We're going to be able to take breaks. And the other piece is setting a beginning, middle, and end. That end is just as important as the beginning. So the intention is now put to rest, and now you can just be yourself. Being good to yourself is a spiritual practice. And that's why, as I say, stop the struggle, end the session setting up boundaries is a good way to take care of yourself. Loving behavior occasionally can include indulgence, like going out for that big fancy lunch. But it most importantly, it is when we understand what nurtures us and we bring that behavior consistently into our lives, consistently we persevere on our goals and our thoughts. That is when we become strong and capable. So as we set your goal, and you know that there's many, many steps to your goal, and there's many different levels of intention to what it is that you're doing, you want to be consistent. I can only study for 30 minutes and then my brain is gone. So we're going to set up enough time to 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes over, take a break, do a couple things, 30 minutes here, and then 30 minutes here, and then I'm going to go to bed. You know yourself, you know how to nourish yourself. And the same with mediumship. I could only, back in the day and even now, I can only be in spirit for so long. And then I get tired, or my body says, I've had enough of being out there with you. It's time to ground. It's time to come back home. So knowing when I'm finished, so knowing when I'm done is a really important way to nourish myself in the work that I'm doing. So I don't start hating the work. So I don't start resenting the work. Also, another way to nourish myself is as working with people who are struggling, that I will be with their in this struggle with them as long as, as best I can during the session, but then the session has to it has to be over, because I can only do that struggle for so long because I'm human. It's not that you see what I'm saying? Or when I'm building my capacity to become available and present, I need to rest, or I need to eat well, or I need to take breaks. Um, for many, many years, and I still do it occasionally. I would do psychic fairs, and I would get, as long as people kept coming, I kept reading. And I remember at one point I did, I don't know, was it 17 or 20 readings? And I was about 2 hours from my house. And by the time I was done, I was tired. It was dinner time, and you think I would be hungry, but I was too tired to even be hungry. And I had a 2 hour ride home. I was not taking care of myself. The readings were good. People were happy with what they got, and I gave it my all. I gave it my best, and even sometimes went a couple minutes over than the time was allotted. But I didn't consider myself as a resource, or myself as being an important part of my intention, which is caring for myself while I'm working. So being good to yourself is a part of your spiritual practice. It is a spiritual practice, and it also tells you that you're worth it. It keeps you in a place of positivity and love. So just wanted to say really shortly, little take a break and say, I help people hear the voice of their soul in my work. And in my soul power mentorships, I open up your Akashic records, and we explore what your soul wants you to know about yourself and your gifts, and how you're using the gifts. Or maybe you don't know that you have these gifts that you have been stepping over for a long, long time. If you are missing the mark of what you expect for yourself and your life, you may need to hear what your soul has to say about it, and I can help you do that. Do you have unexplored gifts in your life? And how can you turn your weakest attributes into your strength? Let's talk. And you can go on angelscapes.net and schedule a discovery session that's no charge, totally free. And we'll talk about how I can use my gifts to listen to your soul and enhance your gifts, so that you can, find some resolution, or get onto a path that really resonates with you. So let me guide you to see more of your soul's potential. Angelscapes.net is where you can reach me, and you can reach me on Facebook at Angelscapes, Nancy of Angelscapes. And anytime you put in Angelscapes on Facebook, I'll pop up, same way on Instagram. So let's talk about choice in your life. So I started this whole talk about setting goals, and how listening to what you want to create, what are your dreams, what it is that you want to experience in your life, is about choice. It's about free will. And a lot of times people will come to me and says, what's my soul purpose? Am I living my soul's purpose? I don't know. And I say, well, how do you feel about your life? We start there, and we start to look at the choices that they've made, and what are the choices that they made were from their heart, and what are the choices that they made where they thought that was the best choice that they could possibly make. And maybe that's absolutely true. That's the best choice you could possibly make, but maybe you grow out of that choice, or maybe that choice was good then, but not good now, because it was taking you to another place. It was taking you to a place in your life that now it's time for you to step away onto either the path is taking you to either a new path, or it's the same path, but you need to go a little higher with what you're doing. Whatever it is, your choice. And our soul's purpose is very much about co-creation, and it's very much about you choosing what it is that inspires you, what it is that supports you and nourishes you and brings you to a place of well-being. And if that's where you're going, you are on your soul's path. You are living your soul's purpose. And as you move along that path, you will see things pop up or occur to you, or situations, people, opportunities will come to you that will be in alignment to your well-being, to where your strengths are. Or maybe it'll challenge you and say, I know that you have these abilities and gifts, And now I want to challenge you to take those gifts and grow them in this direction. So if we're walking that pathway that is in alignment with our heart and our well-being and our inspiration, chances are you're going to meet your soul along your pathway in life, and you're going to be good. You're going to be good. Our soul wants to know what our experiences are. Our soul wants to be part of our journey, our struggles, our happinesses, our joys, because our soul is learning from us. Believe it or not, our soul seems to be eternal and seems to know a lot of things and goes on forever. But what our soul doesn't know is us. And our soul wants to know us and who we are and where we're going and what our goals are. And you deserve to make choices that lead you to feel better and better in your life. And your soul wants you to do that. And your soul gets the struggle. Your soul gets that you had a big plan. And now that plan, as you put it into motion, isn't what you thought it was going to be. And that's fine, because you're doing the plan, you're taking action. And hopefully you're taking action prayerfully, where you're taking the action in alignment with your intuition, in alignment with connecting to spirit, soul, and asking the angels for guidance and help. It's when we understand what nurtures us that we can bring consistent behavior, that we can bring joy and happiness into our lives. To feel good about yourself, to be happy, it may take a while to meet your goal, but if you're working through it through self-respect, self-nurturing, and your basic happiness, then the pathway is just as important as the goal. So setting your intentions to meet that goal with God, spirit, and source is worth taking the time it takes to do it. It's worth the wait. It's worth the effort. It's worth the journey. We're here to be happy. We're here to be creative, and we're here to be the best that we can be. And what makes us happy, what nourishes us, isn't going to match the person next door. It isn't going to match our parents or our other family members. It's only going to match us. And each of us are individual and unique. And the wonderful gift about humanity and the progression that humanity needs to make at this time is that we be unique and true and authentic to ourselves. We be the best that we can through our gifts. We be willing to stretch our gifts, not stretch our sense of ourselves and become someone we're not, but to stretch our gifts, to stretch our understanding about ourselves and our connection to the higher power. That's what's needed in this time to progress humanity to where it needs to progress. It's about teamwork. It's not about just doing it by yourself. So the teamwork is you, your soul, your angels, your guides, and it's you and your loved ones in spirit, your loved ones here, and the people around you who are your team, who are your spirit group. And ask for help and be willing to offer help without changing the person, without criticizing the person, and not to ask for help and have somebody come in and criticize you and try to change you. So we're going to stay, as we begin to work as a team and help each other, we're going to stay in our individuality. We're going to stay in who we are, our authentic self, what our dreams are, what our goals are, what our intentions, and we're going to continue to build from there. And from that place, we're going to learn to work with each other and have compassion for each other and passion for living. And that's what's going to turn the corner for us and what we're trying to do in humanity, in evolution, and all those spiritual things that we talk about, on and on and on. So I love speaking to you about how you can grow your soul, how you can become connected to your soul, how you can grow your spirit, your talents, and your gifts in your life. And I thought that I would just talk to you about the true meaning of setting an intention that will support your goals so that you can meet your own soul and walk yourself into happiness, joy, fulfillment, and satisfaction. So thank you for joining me during this episode, and stay safe, stay in grace, and stay connected to your soul.
Thank you for joining the Angelscapes podcast. We hope you've gained new insights and inspiration for your journey to uncover and access your soul's power. For more information and a deeper dive into finding clarity in your life, go to angelscapes.com. Remember to subscribe so you can be part of the discussion. It may just change your life. See you next time.